The government of the United States is about to start quantitative easing, which means printing money like it's no longer cool. It will be possible to buy treasuries that are stored on blockchain in the future. You start to wonder which blockchain company the US government will work with to help this new business grow in the digital world. And I think that XRP and Ripple could help the US government. That's why I want to play this clip. I also want to talk about what needs to happen for the US to start using the XRP system for treasuries, since that's what the future holds. Let's get right to it. Besides this, I know a lot more about Ripple and XRP. Today we are going to talk about tokenization. The asset class is about to go through the roof. Guys, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. In this movie, I'll catch you all up. Let's start right away. There is a post here from Finance Bull. Friends who own XRP have already said that they will be adding reserves to the Fed's balance sheet, he says. You may remember that Trump said the US had a crypto hoard and that XRP was part of it. Ripple isn't just another new company. The idea for this answer came from the United States, and it's being run by people who have met with presidents and policymakers like Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderete. XRP is already legal, useful for businesses, and widely used. Now, the Federal Reserve is getting ready for the next part of money, where digital reserves are required. What if XRP is not only able to get through law, but is also ready to be integrated? Let me play this. Yes, you're right. The size of the balance sheet will stay the same as it is now until December warrant. As mortgage-backed assets mature, they will be reinvested in treasury bills, which will make the balance sheet more stable and the duration shorter. So, in the meantime, if you freeze the size of the balance sheet, the non-reserve liabilities, like currency, will continue to grow on their own. Also, because the size of the balance sheet is frozen, reserves are shrinking even more, and reserves are what we're managing, so they need to be enough. That will happen for a while, but not for a very long time. Sometime, you'll want to start slowly building up savings to keep up with the size of the economy and the banking system. We don't know how long that will take. At some point, we'll be adding reserves, which is the last point. Even so, we didn't make any decisions today about this. However, we did talk about the composition of the balance sheet. Right now, the balance sheet has a lot more duration than the outstanding universe of Treasury securities, and we want to get closer to that duration. It will take some time. We haven't decided on the final goal yet, but we all agree that we want to move toward a balance sheet that more closely shows the outstanding treasuries. This means that the balance sheet should have a shorter term. This is going to take a long time and move very slowly. That's the way it's going, but I don't think you'll notice it in the market. We are talking about reserves with short terms. Most funds are for 1 year, 3 years, 10 years, or 30 years. Because the time is so short, they're only going to do about 90 days. That's what he's basically saying. It seems likely that you will need quick settlement if you are going to set up a new system like that. They should be able to trade these funds freely 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So let's talk about this for a bit. Trends in QE and Bitcoin right now. Powell has stated that the Fed's balance sheet runoff is coming to an end and that the monetary policy is now focusing on traditional ways to increase growth and liquidity, such as buying treasuries and putting money into the U.S. financial system. Could they start putting money into XRP and other assets on the blockchain? Real-life tests have already shown that U.S. treasuries and other government securities can be tokenized and settled on blockchain infrastructure. For example, in the summer of 2025, a group of financial institutions successfully conducted real-time on-chain financing, tokenized U.S. treasuries against USDC with instant atomic settlement even when the markets were not open for business. The U.S. government is busy researching and testing blockchain for financial management, asset transfers, and auditing. Several agencies are looking into implementation challenges and cybersecurity issues. Building the world's best blockchain-powered capital markets infrastructure is a top priority for the White House's 2025 digital asset policy. This means that governments will be moving to blockchain. Yes, they'll probably be on more than one network. I don't think you just use one. You start to think that USDC will be used here. I think that all USD will be used here, along with maybe some other Solana projects. I don't know much about that, but I do know that someone is looking at the XRP record. It makes you wonder how big this can get and how fast they can make the change. I know that USDC is being looked at. Okay, so what is XRPL for and what does it do? Because I really needed to know that. The XRP ledger is already known as a strong way to tokenize a wide range of real-world assets, such as stocks, bonds, and debt instruments. When tokenized real-world assets were used on the XRP system, they increased by 2,200% in 2025. Asia and some parts of Europe are testing putting government bonds right on ledgers, right? These things are already taking place in Europe. That's why we know the system works. The US can say, oh, come on, that's been going on in Europe for a year now. That's great. We want to do the same thing. This year, Brad Garlinghouse has been to the White House 4 times. Brad Garlinghouse just talked to Patrick Witt, who is in charge of the White House's crypto policy. This is where you start to try to make links, right? Okay, and it says that Ripple works directly with central banks and CBDC projects. Keep in mind that there are more than 20 CBDC pilots, but we only really know about 6 or 7 of them. We don't know who Ripple is working with because there are NDAs on a lot of CBDC tests. You start to wonder if it's in the EU. Is that France, the English bank, all of these different ones, you know? The XRP record has built-in tools for issuing, setting up accounts, building trust, settling transactions quickly for low fees, and making sure that all the rules are followed. This means that it could be used to store government securities either directly or by connecting to other blockchains. How a QE market based on blockchain might look on the XRP ledger. Tokenized Treasury securities could be issued directly by the U.S. Treasury or the Federal Reserve on the XRP ledger or similar blockchains. This would create digital assets that represent T-bills, notes, and bonds. Institutions, dealers, and even the Federal Reserve could interact with these tokenized assets using smart contracts that enforce real-time rules for settlement, compliance, margin, and collateralization. On-chain buy and settlement would allow for instant access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trading on the weekends, and full transparency in how liquidity is distributed and moves. Remember that the government will be a part in the network. All the deals can be seen by them. This will cut down on fraud and protect the system from danger, which is exactly what they want to happen. In theory, the Fed's quantitative easing, QE, could be carried out on-chain by tokenizing treasuries directly in a digital market where all flows and ownership are clear and can be programmed. This would make settling much faster. We did hear Larry Fink, right? Going forward, the stock and bond market will only work through blockchain. As you look around the US, you begin to wonder what processes could actually make this happen. Not many of them. Stellar most likely couldn't handle this. They do not have the same formal ties as Ripple. Circle might be able to handle some of this, but I think there's only one real blockchain infrastructure company in the US and around the world that has the right partners to handle this, right? That company is Ripple, and you know that XRP and RLUSD are the best assets to use for this, right? Because people who invest in US treasuries and other countries' treasuries want to be paid back in their own currencies, right? There is no better way to settle instantly than with your own dollars in that other currency. Having a bridge asset in the middle really makes this deal stand out. These government assets bought through quantitative easing, QE, could be used as high-quality collateral to support DEFI activities, lending repo derivatives, increasing liquidity, and putting in place the necessary monetary and compliance tools. Who is now linked to the swap market? Who is now linked to the derivatives market? Ring, 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 let's go. These are the things you need to look at. If you think, oh, Sensei, I wonder if this company could do that or that company could do that, then it's fine. Do they have anything to do with the repo market? Do they have something to do with the derivatives market? Is it possible to give and borrow on chain? All of these things are required for this to function. You'll also need people to follow through, right? You'll also need cash on hand. You won't find many blockchains that are right for you here. Okay, I found that very interesting. Okay, let me change the subject now. I do want to play a few more clips that caught my attention. I haven't played this one here before. This sounds a bit like YCO, Hunter Horsley. And ETF is dead. Let me play this. The ETF would do better than the one we just talked about. I think it's going to be a big hit. A lot of people are interested in XRP. And by the way, our CIO, Matt Hogan, likes to say that disinterest is what kills an ETF. And lack of interest is not at all a part of XRP. Lots of people are interested, excited, and full of energy. I believe that more than $100 trillion are stored on traditional tracks, and more of that is moving to chain, but there are still $100 trillion there. A lot of the time, an ETF is the first way that a lot of those assets can play an asset. And I believe that if they can trade and benefit from XRP, it will be a very useful and sought-after item. ETFs are generally the first products that come to mind when you think of moving $100 trillion from the old system to blockchain. After that, everything else comes pretty quickly. Here's Securitize, which says pretty much the same thing. The area of tokenized assets is about to go through the roof. Hello, this is Yahoo Finance. Pay close attention. Through a SPAC deal with Cantor Fitzgerald Equity Partners II, Securitize is the first business of its kind to go public. Securitize is going public with a value of $1.25 billion. Institutions want to be able to reach certain investment themes or stories, but they need the right way to get to them. Items found in the real world are one of those. Tokenization is currently being pushed forward by a long-term trend. I'm one of the many people who thinks the space for tokenized assets is going to blow up. They should go public now, right? Yes. They could get some of the love for TradFi that went to Circle. Nobody in the crypto world is like, I'm bearish, Circle. People need to see stablecoins so the income at 5x. The securitized can be real-world assets, which is the next thing we have. People can now do this if they want to connect with real-world goods. They can turn the world into tokens. Give the world tokens. Ladies and gents, tokenize the world. Give the world tokens. Okay, let's watch these short clips, 35 seconds. Ability to meet demand. Everyone should be so excited they can't stand it. All of this is happening now. The public will start to use this place more often for the first time in 2025. Going mainstream means that more and more people are joining. Here at Swell, we have amazing institutions that are building services and merging, but they're also mainstream because they do other things. I've never thought that crypto would come along and change the financial system so quickly as it does now this year. It will become a common asset class. That's it. Okay, here's another 25-second video. Let's get it. It would be great if we could bring billions of dollars worth of brand new assets that didn't exist before to the blockchain thanks to tokenization. These would include things like IP rights and sports team ownership that would be hard to manage on a large scale. Like this. There should be billions of brand new assets that have never been seen before. Yes, that's great, man. That's great. Then there's Dina Friedman sitting down with Monica Long in 20 seconds. We need to follow the right steps. There is a lot of stability in the US markets, and they are very cheap for buyers. That should stay. Keep all of those great things, then let's add the technology that will actually make friction less noticeable. Also, let's add technology that will make things run more smoothly. In charge of Schumann Financial is this person. Don't forget that Schumann Financial created a digital euro on the XRP system. Let's play this. We basically see stablecoins as becoming the most important part of the infrastructure for banking services. Everyone in this room can see, believe, and know that financial services are changing. They will end up on chain because it is a better way to store and move money. Okay, let's go. I did want to quickly go over some of this and give you guys some extra information. Don't forget to hit, like if you're still here and finding value. It does help me meet more really cool people like you. The channel can only grow so much, and there are only so many people who own XRP in the world. But with your help, it will be a lot easier. So thank you very much. Schumann Financial and Ripple have teamed up to create the first euro stablecoin that is compliant with MiCA. The name of this project is Europe on the XRP ledger, and it connects Ripple and XRP across the European on-chain banking and tokenization. Schumann Financial picked Ripple XRP Ledger as the base blockchain for Europe. The main reasons given were XRP Ledger's compliance, auditability, speed, and deep liquidity. This is the reason why other businesses and banks will make the same choice. Senior Schumann executives, such as CEO Martin Brunko, were on Ripple-produced podcasts and panels to talk about how cross-border payments and institutional treasury systems can work together. Institutional methods for the treasury? Okay, fine. And it does give you a little more information, guys. I'm not going to read this to you, but I enjoy it. We talked about this a few months ago when it was all live news. Guys, pay attention. We're at the ETFS. I mean, I know we've been saying this for a while, but they're finally here. Right? If the SEC steps in and picks winners and losers in the market, nothing can stop ETFS from going live. Litecoin has already been accepted. Hedera has already been accepted. They're not going to stop the XRP ETFS. They want to be free, open, and honest. And this would be terrible for the industry if they did it. I think this is okay then. I believe November will be a memorable month for all of us. Don't forget that this is how much money these organizations are in charge of. WisenTree gave you $5 billion, $200 million, $7 billion, and $113 billion. 70 billion pro shares. It's 40 billion grayscale. 5 billion coin shares. There are 5 billion volatility shares. The Franklin Templeton is now worth $1.7 trillion. There are 1 billion hashtags, and 2Crime has 320 million. The business world is getting hotter, women and gentlemen. Thanks for coming here and watching the video. Please like and share if you find it useful. Make sure you've signed up. Use the bell to let people know. All that good stuff. I'm going to give you something. I will give you the best information in the world about XRP, Ripple, and cryptocurrencies. In exchange for your promise to watch it, I will keep getting up every day and giving it to you. Okay? I love all of you. Have a great week.